I moved from San Francisco to Hawaii, and then 3 months after I moved, I quit my job. I completely changed my life within the span of 4 months. I went from having a marketing job in Silicon Valley and living in San Francisco to being surrounded by the ocean in Honolulu, trying to figure out my next steps with entrepreneurship. This move happened during the pandemic when many of us were just trying to hold on and make sense of our life. And while moving to Hawaii and quitting my job might have seemed random and kind of spur of the moment, the thing is, it wasn't. I had actually planned and prepared for this, to follow my dreams and pursue my passion. I didn't know that was what I was doing at the time, but reflecting back, I was. Though following your dreams and preparing your passion isn't just some wild leap of faith you take. There are things you can do to plan and prepare for it. Maybe you can relate to the situation I was in. You feel stuck. You want to pursue your dream, whether that's starting your own business, writing a book, moving, or just taking a risk. I felt like I was stagnating in San Francisco. I had a good job, good community, and good life, but I always knew there was something more, and I felt like I wasn't truly living the life I should be living. I always knew I wanted something more, even though I wasn't quite sure what that looked like. I knew I loved inspiring people to be themselves, to stand tall in who they are, and I also loved creating content. I would always do that in my free time. However, I didn't know what that would look like if I pursued it full time and quit my job. Even to this day, I'm still figuring things out, and you might be trying to figure things out too. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things I did to plan and prepare to follow my dreams. Number 1, plan your finances accordingly. Finances are a big part of being able to follow your dreams. Money is a resource and a tool that we can use responsibly. It's important to know your monthly income and expenditures, and by having this knowledge, you're able to see what type of life you can lead. So in pursuing my passion, there are 2 things I had to plan for: moving and then quitting my job. First, let's cover the moving. So when I moved from San Francisco to Hawaii, I scoped out what my costs would be, and largely I focused on housing, transportation, and food. Those were my main costs in San Francisco. So with housing, San Francisco has some crazy high costs, so I wasn't that shocked when I came to Oahu. Honolulu housing also does have a high cost, but mentally I was prepared for that, so I didn't get sticker shock there. Number 2, transportation. I have always enjoyed walking, taking public transportation, and biking. I've lived in the city a lot, so I've never really had my own car, and that saved a ton with transportation. So when I moved to Honolulu, I decided to live in a place that was walkable as well, so that kept my transportation costs roughly the same. Third is food. Grocery store prices in Hawaii are more expensive. What I've realized in traveling the world and living in other places is you just have to know how to spend your money and where to shop. For example, if you go to Costco, prices are relatively comparable. Also, I've always eaten in a lot and cooked my meals, so while grocery store prices can be more, I knew what to expect. So when I thought about the move, I wasn't too worried about my finances because I knew they'd be roughly the same. All right, moving on to quitting my job. That was a completely different ball game though. I was used to having a steady paycheck every 2 weeks where I knew I could afford things, and while I had coached on the side, I hadn't built up a steady stream of income. Here's how I plan to quit my job though. Very practically, I looked at my finances. The 3 things I mentioned above: housing, transportation, and food, and I also looked up insurance options. I regularly budget and I scoped out what my monthly costs would be, and this was really helpful because sometimes when you plan to take a risk or follow your dreams, it feels very unattainable, but actually write things down on paper or in Excel, and then you can see how manageable it is. For me, I wanted to have a good amount of savings so I wasn't under the gun immediately to make money the next month as I was taking a leap into entrepreneurship. They recommend having 6 to 12 months, which I had. So I was confident that I had enough savings to have a buffer to figure things out for the first few months of entrepreneurship. Don't get me wrong, quitting a job is still very hard and it takes a lot of courage, but because I had planned financially, I knew I was able to do it. And that brings me into my second point and how I plan to pursue my passion. Number 2, save and live below your means. I am someone who is very resourceful. People might call me frugal. Yeah, my mom and my friends know this about me. And as a side note, when your mom who grew up in a village in China tells you to buy things, I think that's a sign that you might be frugal. I'm trying to move out of this, poverty mentality, which I've been a lot better at these last few years. But anyway, Circling back, I've always been really resourceful in life, and it's not hard for me to save money and invest it. That's just how I was raised, and my parents raised me to never owe money. I've always paid back debt really quickly with educational debt or things like that. I have always saved, and even when I had jobs that paid more in tech, I would still have a very simple lifestyle and invest that money or save it. So I have a very simple lifestyle. A few things I did. One, I didn't have a car in San Francisco. I would walk, take public transportation or Uber or bike, and that really helps cut down the cost. Number two, I'm pretty minimalistic when it comes to fashion and beauty. I don't spend money on luxury items like a $2,000 purse, and I don't really spend that much on monthly beauty treatments that cost a lot. Yeah, maybe I should, who knows? And I know those things can add up, and I don't know, I just didn't really find the need to. Maybe I should, let me know. I mean, I know my skincare isn't the best. I mean, I know my eyebrows are kind of screwed up, but I had pretty minimal beauty and fashion costs. I'm someone, I buy a few really quality items and I keep wearing them. And I was cool with that, that was my style. Number three, I don't really drink that much alcohol. And alcohol is a huge cost when you go out and socialize and eat at restaurants. It doesn't really do it for me, so save money there. Number four is I cook a lot. So when I go out and eat at a restaurant, it's usually with friends or for something social. I really like knowing what goes into my body, so I prefer to eat home-cooked meals, but when friends want to go out and eat, I enjoy doing that. Another thing is I chose to have roommates in San Francisco. Instead of paying $4,000 a month for housing, I could severely reduce that by having roommates. That's how I plan, and because I was so resourceful, that enabled me to take the leap into entrepreneurship now because I had savings. If you do this for 10 plus years, you can begin to save your money, invest it, and build up a buffer. So that's what I did, and that's what allows me to pursue entrepreneurship now. At this point, you may be wondering, did I deprive myself and am I just some frugal person? I thought about that too, but here's the thing. I realized earlier on in my 20s that I appreciate the simple things in life a lot more. I worked at Google and I had access to high-end parties, really nice social events and things like that. And I would go to these events and I realized that I didn't really care too much about them. And I actually preferred just hanging out with a friend, enjoying a walk, or going out for coffee and tea. And I really liked those intimate moments more. Sometimes there are these grandiose social events that are great, but I honestly just like grocery shopping with my friend was just as fun. So I realized that, and I also spent a lot more of my money on experiences versus material items. So travel was a huge thing I've done. I just love the experiences of being able to travel around the world and meet people and learn about other cultures. Travel and those experiences were a large way I chose to enjoy myself and invest my money. So instead of buying a car, I would just go on a vacation trip to Iceland. It was pretty good though. I really like Iceland. All right, and point number three of how to pursue your passion is gain practical skills and invest in yourself. So even though I left the Silicon Valley tech life, I would be lying if I said that was an entire waste, because the fact is it wasn't. I gained very practical skills that I use right now as an entrepreneur. So in terms of how I make money, I'm a content creator and content marketing coach. As a content creator, I can make money through advertising, whether that's platform ad revenue or brand partnerships. And as a content marketing coach, I coach other clients on how to build their online brand through content. I've been able to grow a presence on TikTok and Instagram, and a lot of people want to do that to build their own online brand or their business. And this is worth noting. I am able to do this because I invested and gained these skills in Silicon Valley when I was working for someone else. For 4.5 years, I worked at a content-based meditation app where I developed frameworks and methodologies for how to create content and how to market content. I learned these frameworks when I scaled a startup from bootstrap stages to profitability. And also, because I had worked so hard for those 10 years, I am able to charge my worth now when coaching clients. And clients know that because when they meet with me, they see the value I bring. That's how you pursue your dreams also, is you prepare for it and you gain skills that will help you when you pursue your dreams. Really invest in yourself so you have opportunities to make money in the future. So if you want to follow your dreams, ask yourself, what skills can I gain now that will help me in my future? For example, I always knew I wanted to do my own thing, so I reasoned working at a smaller company would be a better fit because I would gain practical hands-on tangible skills. Whereas at a bigger company, I would get a bit more lost and manage political hierarchy and politicking instead. So those are 3 practical things and how you can prepare to follow your dreams. 1, prepare financially. 2, save and live below your means. And 3, Invest in yourself and gain practical skills. And one small tip I want to give you is if you have a grandiose dream, just ask yourself what the next step is. Is there a small step that can prepare you for a bigger leap down the road? Because the reality is, me moving to Hawaii didn't seem like that big of a leap because I had previously moved earlier in my life. I studied abroad in Hong Kong, I worked in London, I did grad school in Michigan, so I was already familiar with taking that leap. And even for entrepreneurship, that was a risk, but I had done everything I could to prepare for it. I worked at a smaller company, so I was familiar with the task I would be doing, and also I started coaching on the side. So really, I wasn't going from 0 to 100 over the span of 2 weeks. Rather, I went from 0 to 100 over a span of 5 years. And each year, I went from 0 to 25, then 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and 75 to 100. And that last 10% is hard to actually quit your job, but I had already taken so many small steps along the way that I was able to do it. So hope this video encourages you and gives you practical tips on how to take a leap of faith. This is what's helped me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I don't have everything figured out, and I share my journey more on TikTok. Will I make it as an entrepreneur? Who knows, but I'm trying my best, and I do value this opportunity I have to really go at something with all my heart and pour my heart and soul into something I care so deeply about. I care so much about storytelling and elevating other people's stories and creating content, so I'm giving it my best shot, and life is to be lived, and you can plan responsibly to do that. It's really about getting 1% better each day, and that's what following your dreams and pursuing your passion is. Every day, just going a little bit more in that direction. If you enjoyed this video, you'll also enjoy this one on why I quit my tech job in Silicon Valley. Go watch that video and let me know what you think. And until next time, I hope you stand tall in who you are.